My name is Dooma Wendschuh, and for anyone who does not know, I am the co-founder and CEO of Ebbu, which is a Denver-based consumer products company that uses cannabis as the raw material from which we create our products. I'm going to give you a quick background about myself, because I don't know about you, but when I come and let someone give me advice, I want to know who's up there talking and what they have to say before I listen to what they have to say. So 2001, I started a video game company. Things were going great. I was loving life, having a wonderful time until August of last year when I decided to make an investment in the cannabis industry. And the problem was that I couldn't find anything that made sense to invest in. You know, I quickly saw there were some huge problems in this industry, problems that no one was trying to solve. You know, you go into a dispensary, you buy an edible, for example, a soda. You buy the same one 2 weeks in a row. It's going to have the same flavor both times, but a completely different psychoactive response. You know, no real consistency. Same's true with the vapor pens. They look cool in your hands, but you know, it's all over the map how it's going to make you feel. And I think we all know that cannabis consumers don't use the product based on how it looks in their hands or the sugary, syrupy additives in the edibles. They make their purchasing decisions based on how it's going to make them feel. So why was no one branding the psychoactive response? It just made no sense to me. And so around this point, I realized that I wasn't going to find a company to invest in. In fact, I was going to have to start my own. And so in January 1st of this year, I partnered up with one of my best friends, a guy named John Cooper, a Colorado native, moved out to Denver, Colorado, and Ebbu was born. And it's only been 10 months, but we have had just incredible success. We closed our seed round, raising $2 million from outside investors. We now have a staff of 8, including PhD chemists and psychopharmacologists from leading research universities and pharmaceutical companies. We have got over $1 million of supercritical fluid chromatography, extraction, analytical, and production equipment. We've prototyped all of our 5 feelings, tested our most challenging delivery mechanism, and appeared on national television 6 times at this point. And so I bet you're probably wondering, what is this guy talking about? What is Ebbu anyways? So I'll give you a quick overview. The best way to describe our business is to use a metaphor. To say that we are a distillery, which is false, right? We don't make alcoholic beverages, but what we do is very similar to what an alcohol distillery does. We take a raw product, you know, just like they might take potatoes and turn it into vodka, except our raw product is cannabis, and we transform it into something that is predictable and reliable, so that you know how it's going to make you feel. You know, you don't look at a bottle of vodka and say that, oh, there's some potato juice, because it's not. You know, it's something new, and we are creating an entirely new category, the distilled cannabis product. And the distilled cannabis product is reliable, meaning every time you try it, you're going to have that same sensation. And the distilled cannabis product is predictable, which is something that alcohol doesn't have, you know, and the distilled spirits, because before you even try it, you know exactly how it's going to make you feel. And we're doing very rigorous clinical trial-like marketing studies in order to guarantee that. And you know, basically what we do at Ebbu is we manufacture and wholesale to dispensaries an array of different products. And the products, the delivery mechanisms themselves, that's not what's important. That's not what matters. What's important is what's inside. It's the formulations. And we also sell those formulations to people who are doing brownies and candies and sodas and what have you, so that they can market their products based on more than just the flavoring. They can market based on a predictable psychoactive response. So that's who I am, and a little bit of detail on what Ebbu is and what Ebbu's been doing. And I can tell you, it has been a wild ride. I can tell you that every day where nothing terrible happens feels like the best day of my life. And I can tell you that there are very few days like that. I've done a lot of things in my life, and this is by far the most difficult. This is the least sleep I have gotten, the least healthy I have felt, the least I've seen my wife, and most of my friends have forgotten that I even exist. This is so stressful that I got my first gray hairs. I got 3 of them right here on my beard. And they say that whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I think the jury's still out in which direction I'm going, but there's no doubt in which direction Ebbu is going. You know, despite all the challenges, despite all the tremendous fuck-ups, and you know, I'm sorry to use that kind of language, but there's no better way to describe what happens to you in this industry, and you'll see a lot more of that in this presentation. Despite everything that's gone wrong and all the surprises and twists and turns along the way, our business is exploding, and we are poised to become one of the biggest brands in this new industry. So even if it kills me, and it might, I will never stop because I love this. You know, I love the brand that we're creating. I love the team that we are building. I love that we have the opportunity to change the world. And I know if I make it through this startup phase, that we will change the world. And when I look out at you guys, and in particular the ones who are still here, I know that some of you also will change the world. And not all of you, probably not even most of you, but there are going to be some people in this room who have what it takes, who are willing to put their lives and their families on hold, who are willing to take the kinds of risks and the kinds of sacrifices that you need to take in order to start a company on the bleeding edge in this uncharted territory. And so today, what I'm going to do is give you some tips, basically 4 tips that will help you get through all of this to the other side. There is another side, and deal with all of the insurmountable things that this industry is going to throw at you. And that's the title of my talk. It's kind of funny, but even if you follow every tip that I give you, you're still going to fuck it up. But hopefully you're going to fuck it up in a totally different way than we have. And that's good, actually, because then you're going to make your own list of tips, and you'll be able to give your own speech. And if we get enough of these speeches and enough of these lists of tips going around, guys, that's how we make an industry. So the first tip is a repeat. If you saw me last time, I was in South Florida. But I actually give this little tip every time that I speak at one of these conferences because it's so important. And it's not just important for you guys starting businesses, but it's fundamentally important for the industry. If you're going to get into this, you need to solve a problem that needs to be solved. If you're trying to raise money right now to start a dispensary, I got news for you. That problem was solved years ago. If you're doing this because you want to start a grow operation, hey, those have been around for ages. And I got another news for you. Opening a grow operation in Florida does not count as an innovation. If you want to succeed in this industry, or really in any, you need to create something, you need to contribute, you need to make the process better, you need to innovate. And if you do those things, you will have no trouble building your business. You will have no trouble raising money. You know, just another dispensary is not going to get funded. It's just not. But if you solve a real problem like Ebbu is doing, you know, it'll get funded in an instant. And the good news is that this industry is so young that all we have are problems. Just pick one and solve it. Okay, number 2. You guys have no idea what you're about to get into. You know, I know everyone's struggling to get this amendment passed, but that's the easy part. It's after the amendment passes and it gets handed over to the legislator to write the rules, that's when the real crazy happens. And it's really crazy. Like in Colorado, we have a new rule that says that every owner of a cannabis business has to go into the local police station once a year to get their fingerprints taken so they can run the fingerprints for a background check. Like, are they crazy, right? Don't they know that your fingerprints don't change? Like, that's the whole point of fingerprints, is that you have your hands your whole life. And it blows my mind. And I know how it feels because, you know, it hurts your feelings. It makes you feel kind of stupid when they make these stupid rules. And you feel like stupid rules should only apply to stupid people, and they shouldn't apply to you because you're smart. Well, guess what? If you don't follow the rules, what you are is a criminal. So you better shut your mouth and get in line, because these same people who are making up these stupid rules, these are the same exact people that are allowing you to sell marijuana legally. So if they tell you that every Tuesday you got to put a roll of quarters in your mouth, stand on your head, and sing the national anthem, you better get some quarters and get a voice coach. Now what's going to happen is that someone is going to come to you, this is invariably going to happen, and they're going to offer you a type of a deal that's not exactly in conformity with the rules. And you know, this happens to me like once a week, okay? And when it happens, I'm going to tell you what I say, and some of you guys should write this down, because these 2 sentences are going to get you out of so much trouble. What I say is, we're not in the business of getting around the rules. We're in the business of following the rules. And then you know what they say next. They're going to say, oh, no, it's totally legal. It's an IP holding company in the Cayman Islands and a shell company and foreign bank and all this nonsense. And you just get real quiet. And you wait for them to finish. And you have a little pause because what you're about to say is important and you want it to sink in. And you say, I'm sorry, I don't think you heard me. We're not in the business of getting around the rules. We are in the business of following the rules. And I know it's really, really hard to run a cannabis business and follow all the rules. But I'm here as living proof to tell you that it is possible. We don't have any shell companies. We don't have any IP holding companies because we have nothing to hide. I'm proud to be in this industry. I'm proud of what I do every day. And if that means that there's a few things that I can't do or a few extra hoops I got to jump to, I'm okay to jump through those hoops. And you know what else I'm okay to do? I'm okay to work with the legislatures and help them make better rules that make more sense so the next round of entrepreneurs don't have to go through what I went through. Every time you take a shortcut, every time you find a workaround, you are continuing the practices which make this a marginal industry. You have to be honest, be forthright, follow the rules, and by doing that, you can help us make change. Okay, there is so much bullshit science in this industry. It's like your horoscope is more scientifically credible than most of the shit that comes out of the mouths of most of the people in the cannabis business. And that is a fact. And if you have ever said anything about the plant or about CBDs or about terpenes, and you said it with conviction, but you haven't done the research, and you haven't read it in a peer-reviewed journal, and you haven't learned about it from someone who's an expert in the field, then you have already earned your honorary degree as a bullshit scientist. And the truth is that there's very little real research that's been done on cannabis. It's been illegal for a long time. And nobody really knows anything. And what that means is there's an opportunity. So it's up to you how you are going to handle that opportunity. The first option is that you can continue to embrace this sort of bullshit science and keep our industry in the dark ages. And you'll probably make a lot of money, so I don't really blame you. But the other option is to do the right thing, to push things forward. So how do you know if it's real science? Well, real science is carried out by experts in the field, by people who are genuine scientists. Not someone who took a science class in college and read a lot of stuff in the internet. I love it when I get these cannabis business plans and it's got someone's name and the letters PhD next to it. And then you read the fine print and it's like a PhD in romance literature. That doesn't count, okay? The best way to figure out if someone is an actual scientist is to ask for a list of their publications. And if they don't have one, you know what they are. But if they do have one and their publications are in legitimate peer-reviewed journals in a related field, well, that's a real scientist. Real science takes years of disciplined study. It requires an advanced degree. It uses equipment that costs hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. It requires adherence to strict procedures and principles. It needs to be published in peer-reviewed journals in order to be accepted. Please, people, do not put your cousin who went to med school in your business plan as your scientific expert. Do not call your buddy who makes butane dabs in his garage your chemist. He's not a real chemist. And the dude that grows your weed is not a geneticist. He's just a dude that grows weed. Don't embarrass yourself and don't embarrass our industry. We're fighting for legitimacy. Okay, last tip. If you are here because you think this opportunity is about selling weed to white guys with dreadlocks and tattoos, well, you know what you can do. That is not the game we are playing here, folks. Sure, that's a part of it, but it's just the tiniest micron-thick little sliver on the surface of the real opportunity. And I'm going to say something now that is bold, but when you think about it, you'll realize that it's actually true. This opportunity we have right now is bigger than the opportunity was with the internet. It's bigger than the tech boom of the of the early 2000s. How many people, even today, use the internet in our world? 2 billion. How many of the 7 billion people in our world use some kind of psychoactive on a regular basis? Almost all of them. And whether you like it or not, we are in a society that draws tremendous benefit from recreational psychoactives. You know, find a couple that wasn't brought together closer because of alcohol. You know, we use it to celebrate. Find a business that didn't experience a boost in creativity from that morning cup of coffee. And we are at this incredible moment in history, this transition from a world where there are 3 legal recreational psychoactives to this new world where there's all of a sudden a fourth which is safer and healthier than the others, which has proven medical benefits, which has been shown to unleash creativity in musicians and artists. And we are also at this point where we are upsetting the way things have been. Alcohol has had a monopoly as basically the only legal recreational psychoactive for social and leisure activities for almost hundreds, thousands of years. And this has allowed Anheuser-Busch to be the #1 spender in Super Bowl advertising 5 years in a row. And that is the game we're playing, right? That is who we're up against. We are in the big leagues, and it doesn't matter that we have a better, healthier product. What matters is that they have the money, they have the lobbyists, they have the ear of the FDA, and they have the power. And that's why I'm losing sleep. That's why I'm getting these gray hairs. That's why I panic when I see Eric Holder stepping down. Everything is against us. But if we play our cards right, if we don't waste time, if we follow the rules, then we can change the world. The people of 23 states, the legislatures of 23 states have spoken, and they have given us this opportunity. They have given you this opportunity. Don't fuck it up. And that's it.